Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 24. So in last episode, we simulated a bit, did some scouting for the Year 5 draft, and it's not looking like it's going to be that great of a draft on paper. It could surprise us still, but to be honest, it's definitely lacking a lot of good Asian players, which is not great. Hopefully next year's draft is better, but you can kind of see basically if we scroll through this list, it's going to take us a while before we hit the first Asian player that we've scouted out fully, and that's not a great thing, obviously. So Stanley Oka is likely going to be one of our first picks, but after that it kind of just like continues to drop off because you have like Chu Hong, who's okay, it's looking like. But you could just see, like, we don't really have that much options because that's only 2 players, and we're in the later stages of the draft already by this point. So I'm not exactly sure if we're going to get that good of prospects in this draft, but hopefully it's a draft that could kind of give us at least some depth that could maybe show up in our lineup down the road. And then hopefully next year's draft is a much better one for our team because obviously we need to continue building up that prospect pool. Even though it's been getting better, we definitely need to make sure that we're still building up the right way. So hopefully we can find some good players still in the next week or so, or scout out some more players in the next week or so that are decent. But when we get to the draft itself, I think we're going to get stuck with nobody that's a B potential. I think, well, maybe there might be 1 or 2 B potentials, but I think mostly everybody else would be C potential or lower. However, there could be some surprises. We never know. So anyways, let's get into your guys' comments now and see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we will get into the Year 5 draft. So the first comment is from State of the Franchise Gaming, who says, don't forget to look at where the player is born. Also, some guys might fit even if their last names don't. And yeah, that's kind of true because obviously Hoffman, who we were looking at like last year, I think it was, he didn't have an Asian name, but he wasn't Asian. So we should probably do a little bit more of due diligence and just see if there's anybody here that is actually listed from an Asian country that we didn't actually scout out because we didn't think they were Asians. So let's scroll through this and see a little bit first just to see if there's anybody there. We know about Oka already. We know about Chu Hong already. Yeah, this might be the faster way of finding players for us that we could draft. But obviously at the same time, I can't focus on the player's name right now. So we're just looking at the place they're born, and then we'll look at the name basically to see if they're actually Asian or not. Well, I guess if they're born in the country, it makes sense, but hopefully we can find maybe somebody else to scout out for the next week or so because we don't have a lot of time left to scout, only 1 more week, and then we'll get obviously into the draft itself. Philip Nishi, yeah, we already know about him too. Yeah, I'm not really sold on this class at all. Like, I think this is probably going to be our worst draft yet of this franchise mode. So that's not great. Hopefully that means next year there's a generational guy, or that we win the draft lottery or something like that, because obviously if there's a generational guy that we could draft, that would be amazing. Austin Choi, we already have him scouted. Yeah, not seeing anybody with an Asian country that we have not scouted really. Like Koji Yamazaki, even like we've scouted out him too. That's unfortunate. Tom Ann, I've never scouted him out at all apparently. Huh, okay, well we'll get Tom Ann as the guy that I should scout out, but I am going to move him to the second priority because there was another comment, let me get to this one, from Dylan Burrows, who says, if you like Oka, you should scout him out for him to get more interest up. So that's exactly what we're going to do, so let's head on over to shortstop, and we're going to get Oka as the top priority, so that way his interest could get at least a little bit higher, and yeah, hopefully we could still find some more Asians when we look into draft class. And let me just get to the last comment before we add another guy to this thing, and that is from Nick Bucker Barons OC, who says Oka shortstop, then Chu relief pitcher, then Fong center field. So he thinks that is the order that we should draft those players in, so maybe we'll draft them in that order depending if we need them or not. But let's try and find one more prospect to add to this list that we have not taken a look at yet, if there is one, which honestly there might not be. There is guys like Jason Irabu, but I don't know if he's worth scouting out. He might be a decent overall with a low potential, like a C potential guy. We could always use more closers because we did only draft just 1 closer last year. So, you know what, we're going to just add Irabu to this list because I honestly don't care at this stage who we add. And yeah, it should be interesting to see what all these guys end up looking like. But like I said, this draft class is just not going to be super great, so I doubt we're going to get anything like insanely good. If we do, I will be majorly shocked, but let's go week and see if I could find out any information about those guys. Auto on Pat Hatfield. Yeah, I think, yeah, one more week of scouting out. Stanley Oka is actually pretty decent. Okay, so at least Oka's good, but the only problem with Oka being good is we already have a lot of shortstops. But Oka's going to be a very good defensive shortstop. He's not going to be the contact kind of guy. So that's not too bad. But yeah, he's looking pretty good. 50 to 65 overall in an 18-year-old is good. 73 to 88 potential is a little bit of a wide gap, but at least that means he's a C potential, but at the highest, he could be a decent B potential player. So Stanley Oka likely will end up being our pick, and we'll get those other guys scouted out a little bit longer, and we'll get Oka's interest up to, I guess, above 40%. Yeah, 41%. So that way it's easier for us to sign him once we draft him, because we don't want to obviously be losing players in this draft as well. But anyways, there's that. Let's go another week, and then we should be getting close to the draft, I think, which is exciting. We're obviously not going to look at the trade, but I will actually, you know what, I made a look at this trade, even though we're not making trades in the series, just to see how bad the AI logic is going. Yu Min Lin, who is an Asian guy, but obviously we're not making trades in the series. See potential. No, thank you. They're trying to get Sasaki and Yang, which is funny. No, thank you. I just wanted to take a look and see, though, just to see if the logic was actually better now. But auto on that, and auto on that. And no thank you on that. And we should be at the draft now, right? Yes, we are. Perfect. Okay. So what are the players I could actually add to my list? Like, who disappeared? Who disappeared? Hopefully nobody important. Because obviously that would hurt us even more if we have guys disappearing. Because then we're only locked to specific guys. Which right now there is Stanley Oka. We're going to add him obviously to the draft queue. He's likely going to be the 3rd overall pick in this year's draft. Chu Hong is also a guy that's kind of intriguing to me, but I don't know how early we would take him if he's available. Not that we really need pitchers too much, but who is the next closest one here? See, this is what I mean. Like, there's this huge-ass gap in between players that I don't feel safe at all with what we're going to be able to draft here. Let's see. Wow, yeah, see, there's like major gap. We only have 2 people so far on our list, and we're almost halfway through this, which is definitely the worst draft class in terms of Asian talent we've seen. Like I said, if there's basically a lack of Asians, the players that I draft with the other picks, I'm going to have to basically just not use them. They're going to have to get lowered, basically. Oh, there's Phil Nishi, finally. So there's our 3rd one. That's not great. Anybody else? Richard Chen. Okay, yeah, this is where all the rest of these guys pretty much are. They're all hiding in the later stages of the class, which is not great because they're going to have to go much earlier than usual, I think. That's 4 guys so far. We need at least 6, or else we're going to have to draft people that aren't Asian too. There's Choi. Man, how much more do we got? Yeah, I think a lot of people remove themselves from the draft class. Yeah, there's only 4 on our list, or 5 on our list. So I'm going to still just double check this again and see if there's anybody that I completely missed out on, or I missed when I just looked through this list. Because I think we might literally not have enough Asians in this draft to draft, like, technically 6 of them, which means our 6th pick, we probably won't even give a contract to or try and sign him. Which kind of sucks, but that's the way it has to work, because we have to only draft Asians, so. I mean, I could sign him technically, but maybe I'd have to just lower his potential to, in overall like I do with the other players. Jeez, man. Yeah, this is not looking good. Do we have Richard Chen on our list? I think we do already. Yeah, we do. Oh, boy. Yeah, a lot of people remove themselves from the draft class where they're just too much later in the draft. That's actually kind of nuts. But you can kind of definitely see now why I don't like this draft class. Oh, man. This is not good. Hopefully we could get them all at least, because if the AI starts taking some of them too, that's going to make it even worse for us. But hopefully your next year's draft makes up for it. That's all I'm praying for. Anybody else? Not seen anybody else on this list so far. Man, this is unfortunate. I really hope we could get all the players we want, and because or else it's going to just take away from the team. Yep, that's all we could add is 5 players to our draft. Usually there was like stages where there was like 12 or more. So this is definitely the worst class for Asian talent. So Stanley Oka, Chu Hong, Philip Nishi, Richard Chen, and Austin Choi. I hope I can make you guys all Tropic Turtles because we need you guys basically. So let's hope that you're decent as well, because if you're not decent, that's going to just make it tougher. Anyways, 2028 MLB draft. I almost said NHL draft for some reason, but let's see what the Marlins take at number 1. Then it's the Angels, and then it's us. What is Miami going with for the first overall selection? They are going to take Christian Russell, the first baseman, who looks like he could be a very high overall out of the draft with solid potential. And he's 21 years old. We've actually 70% scouted him, so our scouts actually think he's going to be good too. So that might be a pretty good first overall selection for the Marlins. At number 2, the Angels are going to select Easton Solis, who could be a 99 potential starting pitcher. So we'll see if he ends up being that good or not. And our first pick is going to be Stanley Oka. Unfortunately, the ones that Nick was mentioning, he said Chu relief pitcher, but I think he means Chu Hong is what he was meaning on that. But he said Fong at center field, which wasn't on the list. So unfortunately, we are not going to be able to draft Fong this year. But obviously, Oka's an exciting one. I think he's going to be decent. But everybody else on this draft list, it's kind of up in the air. I mean, Hong I think could be okay. But everybody else might be like C potential or lower. There's a chance that Richard Chen's a decent steal too. But let's go with Stanley Oka for our first selection in this year's draft. Hopefully he is decent, because if he's not, this is going to be even worse of a class for our team. So there we go. Stanley Oka is joining the team, hopefully. He had a little bit of a reach considering he was projected 38th. Our scouts had him at 33. But obviously we had to take him because he's the best of the Asian talent in this draft class. Alright, let's take a look at what the AI is grabbing in his first round as well, even though it doesn't matter because I don't think they're going to take anybody off our list here. BJ Christian goes 4th overall to the Nationals. Catcher, which is interesting. So there's the highest catcher of this draft class. Benny Moricaldi, who was the MLB top prospect, could be very, very good. So that might be a very good steal there for the Rockies at number 5. Tom Wheeler, a center fielder, going to the White Sox. Could also be a 99 potential guy. He was projected to go 17th. The Cubs are going to take Jackie Tackett. Interesting name. Too bad his name's not like Tacky Jacket. That would have been funny. He was projected to go 81st, so that's maybe a big reach. Al Mateo is a right fielder. He was supposed to go later first round, but might be a 99 potential guy. The Pittsburgh Pirates take Francesco Trevino, who could have a high overall. He is 22 years old and was projected 22nd overall. The Detroit Tigers at 10 are going to take Marlon Gilliam, who is projected to go 54, so that could be a big reach. He is 18 years old, though. The San Francisco Giants take Eddie Vega Ramos, who's another starting pitcher, 19 years old. He is injured, but he could have a very good overall or a low overall, but also a pretty good ceiling. Alex Anderson goes next to the Phillies, first baseman. So that is the second first baseman off the board since the first overall pick, Christian Russell. Ken King goes to the Orioles, a starting pitcher. Interesting name, Ken King. What about the Brewers? The Brewers at 14 take Greg Kolars, who's another starting pitcher. It sucks that this year's draft didn't have any Asian starting pitchers because most drafts do for us, but this year not so much. Lou Francisco, another starting pitcher, going to the Texas Rangers. All right. Kind of a mixed bag there. Could be a D potential, could be an A potential. The next pick, the Royals take Mustafa Ventura, another center fielder, so that's the second center fielder after Tom Wheeler. Nino Zavala going to the Padres, another starting pitcher. There's always so much starting pitchers in the first round, but it makes sense because it's pretty much one of the most important areas in baseball. Grayson Gonzalez going to the Yankees, another starting pitcher, 21 years old this one. Projected to go 18th, so right around where he was actually supposed to go. David Ramirez going to the Diamondbacks, a first baseman, so there's the third first baseman, first since Alex Anderson. The Guardians at 20 take Ronald Gomez, All right. Another left fielder, and was projected to go in the second round. So it could be a reach. The Cardinals take Luis Franco, another starting pitcher. Franco or Franco, one of the two. Probably Franco, maybe Franco if he... Actually, no, it's probably Franco because his name's Luis. Edward Hardy going to the Mariners. A second baseman. He is the top second baseman in this year's draft. All right, at least for draft-wise. Center fielder is Zachary Singh headed to the Blue Jays. He was projected to go in the second round as well. Actually, third round. Damn, that could be a big reach. Jim Torres headed to the Mets, a right fielder. That is the second best right fielder, first since Alan Mateo. And then Billy Bledsoe, that's a kind of a cool name. Going to the Braves, shortstop. So that's the first shortstop since our pick with Stanley Oka. But obviously this guy's probably going to be better just because we had to take a reach. Freddie Valenzuela going to the Twins. Another starting pitcher. Projected to go in the second round. Douglas Stobie, something like that, going to the Tampa Bay Rays. Not looking too good based on our scouts at 10%. Geraldo Andino, another shortstop. So there's the third shortstop of the draft going to the Dodgers. The Reds at 29 take Bob Kepler, a starting pitcher. It was actually projected to go top 15, so that could be a pretty good steal. And then Houston at number 30 is going to select who? Tino Garcia, another starting pitcher. Let's take a look at Tino. All right. He could be actually a pretty good steal too because he was projected maybe to be a 12th overall selection. All right, let's sim to our pick now. And hopefully we can get ourselves one. Oh, no. One guy went off the board. Chu Hong went off. No. Screw you, Rockies. What is this, man? We're going to get less players in this year's draft than any other draft we've ever had. And we're not going to sign the guys that we drafted, basically, that are not Asians. Or we could sign them, but then I also have to lower their overalls and stuff. But Chu Hong, going to the Rockies, that sucks, man. There's only a couple of selections away, and they take one of the only Asians in this draft class. Damn, man, that sucks. He was really looking decent. So I think I might have to go for... Yeah, I'm going to have to go for Richard Chen here, I think. Our scouts have Chen after Nishi, which is interesting. But also the potential ranges to me... Chen looks like 100% scout, or is 100% scouted. Nishi is only 80% scouted. And we have Austin Choi at 95%. So I'm going to go with Richard Chen with this next pick. We also do need third baseman. He looks like he could play second base, which is another position of need. So Richard Chen, welcome aboard. Hopefully that wasn't a terrible selection, but hopefully he's at least a B potential kind of guy. Maybe a C potential that could outgrow that. But, yeah, I'm not happy that there's Asians going off the board and we don't have really any guys to draft. It really sucks, man. All right, let's sim to our next pick, and hopefully Nishi and Choi are still there. And they both are. Okay, good. So this is going to be our next selection, is going to be probably... Yeah, probably Nishi, just because his overall could be higher. So we're going to go with Philip Nishi with this next selection. So welcome aboard, Philip. I know you're not going to be good. You're probably going to be a D potential, my guess. But let's hope that you're a C potential somehow. So there's Philip. Let's move to our next pick for Austin Choi, who is still on the board, so that's good. But after this, we have no more Asians in this draft class, which means like literally 3 of our picks are going to be guys that we don't even sign. Or I lower them instead, but still. Oh, boy. This draft class really had to hit me in the face like that. I hope next year's so much better, because if it's not, this is going to be a very hard series. Very, very hard. And of course, we only have a minute to make our selections here, so I don't even know if I could go through this fast enough to see if there's any Asians I missed. Let's see if I see any Asians that I missed. Any Asian countries? Oh my goodness, this skips through it like really weirdly. Not seeing anybody here. God damn, man. Why does it have to remove people that go later than 200? Because I could have literally drafted some other players too if it didn't do that. I do not see a single Asian here. And we already just went through the list. Well, that sucks. That sucks. I'm going to probably just auto-sim the rest of this in that sense because we can't make any more selections. So we'll sim the rest of this draft. And anybody that I drafted after the 3rd round that's not Asian is gone. This is a terrible episode, but it had to happen. It had to happen. Alright, let's get through this. Let's go auto on that front. We probably don't have anybody in the home run derby yet because we don't have any hitters in the MLB. Let's skip through this. Who is going to be our all-star? It's probably going to be Parker Iwamura, my guess. Let's take a look if Parker Iwamura made the all-star game. Likely he did because he's our best player technically, but let's see if he's the one to be in the all-star game or not. Hopefully he is. Are we on the right side of this? Yeah, we are on the right side of this, okay. I think so, at least. Are we? Yeah, I think we're on the right side of this. So Parker Iwamura might not have made the all-star game, actually, so we're probably going to have a really scrub all-star guy this year. Again. Let me take a look through this. Who's the lowest overall? Oh, yeah, Alfonso Del Villar, as a 2 overall, has made the all-star game. While he was batting a 118. That's insanely terrible. I don't know why he made it and Iwamura didn't, but I'm not going to question it. Probably too much good pitchers this year in the MLB. But let's get to signing our draft picks here. So obviously Oka needs to be at the top priority because he needs his interest up here. We're not going to be signing Jordan Martinez because I didn't draft. I technically can't draft him or sign him. Philip Nishi needs to get his contract, and Richard Chen needs to be moved to 2nd because we could already probably sign Nishi. So let's get Nishi up there. Perfect. Nishi's already signed, and these guys all I can't sign, which is interesting because who knows how good Humberto Anaya could end up being. And Choi also needs to be on this list too. Alright. Let's get those guys' interest meters higher. Hopefully I could sign them all because or else this is a colossal failure of a draft class. For sure. Alright, let's see what we got here. Interest still not high enough, but Richard Chen's getting close, which is good. Auto in that, and let's see what we got here. Alright, Richard Chen, let's get you signed up. Thank you, Richard. And then that means Austin Choi to 2nd. Stanley Oka still at 1st. Obviously, Oka's the most important player by a long shot at this draft class. That he's actually going to be decent. Pat Hatfield injured for over 6 months. Well, at least he's not a prospect of mine, so I don't care, but damn. Alright, now we can sign Oka. Let's see if he'll accept, please, Stanley. Ah, you douche. Come on. You gotta accept, man. Without you, this draft class really has slapped me in the face. Okay, now we should be able to sign Mr. Oka, right? Yeah, there we go. Stanley has accepted, which means we're down just to Choi. Hopefully we can get that interest over 50%. Because or else it's going to be really tough to sign him. One more day. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're going to come down to the last little bit to see if we sign Choi or not. But this is definitely going to be probably one of the worst classes we have. I think next year should be better, but if it's not, it's going to be very tough. Let's give you everything left there, Austin. Thank you. And we have signed all of our prospects, but there wasn't really a lot of them because we are not signing the other guys. Stan Nguyen has been injured for a little bit with some forearm tightness. That's not too bad. Let's go auto on that, but we need to make sure to put him back into the lineup. Let's go auto utilize for a second and make sure he's back in the lineup. Because obviously he's important to the future of this team. So he was in there. He's already back in. Okay, and that's good. Parker Iwamura's up to an 80 overall. Well, take a look at player stats also in this episode, I think. So that way you guys can see how people are doing. So do we have time still? Yeah, we have to still go one more day. And then we can actually take a look at how good our prospects are. Okay, how good was this draft class? Probably not good whatsoever. But hopefully Stanley Oka's a 65 overall with 88 potential, because at least that would be decent. But everybody else that we drafted are not going to be that good. So this is definitely the worst class. I wish I would have been able to grab Chu with that 2nd pick, but it is what it is. Let's see how good Stanley is. Okay, he's B potential. That's good. At least that makes me happy, because if he was a C potential, that'd be bad. But B potential at 18, 58 overall is not bad either. He does have very good durability, and he is a very good defensive shortstop. Like, his fielding, his arm is good. Accuracy needs a little bit of work. Reaction is decent too. Speed and stealing is pretty good. And yeah, his hitting is just not really good. So he's a good defensive guy, which is not too bad, I guess. So I will definitely take that from Stanley Oka. These other selections are going to be probably pretty bad, so I almost don't even want to take a look at them, but we obviously have to. So our next selection, it's okay. Richard Chen, 46 at 18 is pretty low. Only see potential, but at least it's not a deep potential. That's all I could really say about that. For strength-wise, he's good at speed and stealing a bit, but he definitely needs a bit of work with some of his other things. But at least it gives us depth in the system in a sense. And in our next selection, Philip Nishi's a 62 at least at 22. That's not a bad starting overall, but his potential's not great. Hopefully he could outgrow it like some guys have. His contact for his lefties is pretty good, but his vision is not. Fielding and stuff like that is okay as well, so he's decent in the outfield. Has some speed and stealing as well. It's an okay pick, but obviously this draft class, we didn't really know what else to take. And Austin Choi, hey, that's actually not bad. That's not bad. He's a higher overall than I expected. 60 overall at 18, but the deep potential sucks. But obviously, if he outgrows that deep potential, then he might be useful. Has decent Ks per 9, and in his other walks and stuff like that, per 9 is not bad, but obviously they need some more work. He's got good velocity. His break's okay. Yeah, he's not terrible. Not terrible, but in general, a very meh draft for this team. So you can see Oko only 81 potential, but obviously you could outgrow that. But Richardson, 76 potential? I'll take that. Philip Nishi and Choi, though, 68 and 63. I hope that they could outgrow them, but kind of weird. And then, yeah, obviously these guys we weren't able to sign. So if you guys want, you can write down these names in, I don't know, wherever you want, and then bring it up to me, like, down the road if you see me playing them in the playoffs or something like that, because obviously our restrictions in the series of not being able to draft anybody that's not Asian might come back to bite us with these three guys. Who knows how good they are, but hopefully they were not that good. Let's take a look at the rest of this draft class, see who got what, though. The Mariners, let's see. Frederick Lockett, pretty solid steal, but a lot of deep potentials on this team. Wow, really good draft for the Texas Rangers. 71 at 18, 77 potential for Lou Francisco. Brady Brooker is also pretty decent. 62 at 23 is a little bit low, but 89 potential, still useful. Edgar Pereira is okay as well. Ken Butler is a pretty good steal, and then Cesar Zepeda is a very good steal. The Braves had a mad draft. I mean, this guy's at least a good overall, but yeah, they didn't have that great of a draft either. I think this draft is going to be kind of mixed. Ooh, the Miami did good with the first overall selection. Christian Russell, 80 overall at 21 out of the draft and 84 potential. So this guy's MLB ready out of the gate. Good contact hitting as well. That's a pretty good pick there for the Marlins. Even though he doesn't have the highest potential in the world, that's a useful player right out of the gate at first base. Ike's okay. Johnny Rodriguez, solid steal there. These guys are all kind of average players, but still not bad. It seems like some teams have good drafts and then other teams are just not doing well. The Mets, terrible draft for them. Like, they even drafted, I'd say, worse than us. No B potential players. The best is Jim Torres. The Phillies got Alex Anderson, and he's fantastic. Another good first baseman. And then they also had some okay guys, but obviously the best selection was Alex Anderson. The Nationals, pretty solid steal with B.J. Christian as the catcher. Actually, he was like the 5th or 4th overall selection anyways, but pretty solid player there. And then Luis Mejia or something like that, 48 at 18, 88 potential. Pretty good. Wow, that's actually pretty damn great. The Cubs got Jackie Tackett, or we said Tacky Jacket. He is a 60 at 19 with 97 potential. So the Tacky Jacket is actually pretty good. Everybody else kind of mid. And then this Boyce Morris guy literally is very low potential, only 53 potential. He's almost an F potential guy. The Reds, Kepler's okay. but their best player was Kevin Osuna. 65 at 22 is a little low, but 88 potential is nice. Does seem like a lot of deep potentials in this draft class, though. The Brewers, their best pick was Greg Warner. 65 at 22, 90 potential. All right. The Pirates, mostly C and D potential guys. Yikes. Yeah, in general, this looks like a weak draft class, even for teams that didn't just have the restrictions that we did. Luis Franco's okay. Mario Cruz is okay as well. Like, some of these guys have at least decent starting overalls for having low potentials. David Ramirez, pretty damn good pick. Another good first baseman. That's 3 first basemen that are really good in this draft. So, might have been the year to draft a first baseman, but obviously there's no Asian first baseman. Everybody else, kind of average. The Rockies, Benny Morticaldi, who was projected the first overall selection, was really good. 79 at 21, B potential. He's going to be a very useful pitcher for them. He just missed out on an A potential as well. And then Chu Hong, who we could have drafted, was pretty good too, I'd say. 63 at 21, 79 potential. Very good hits per 9 and home runs per 9. Yeah, that would have been nice to kind of have that in our bullpen to go with like Tom Koo and whatnot, but Rockies decided to take him a little bit before us, unfortunately. Our next team is the Dodgers. Some okay picks here, but no crazy guys. Nino Zavala is pretty solid. 64 at 19, 87 potential. Pretty much that. The Giants. Antonio Lopez is a very good steal as a reliever. I almost said relief pitcher, and then I was saying reliever at the same time. I'm like, what the heck do I say? The Orioles. Ken King is okay. He's got a good starting overall. Floyd Sanchez, same type of boat. Actually, really good overall, though, for a 19-year-old. 68 with 79 potential. Joseph Gaudio is a fantastic steal at second base. Too bad he's not Asian, because that would have been a nice pick. We head to the Red Sox. 90 potential and 68 at 18 for Alan Mateo. That's a fantastic pick by the Red Sox. Looks like a power hitting kind of guy. And then we head down to Archie Quintana. A little bit of a low overall, but also an A potential, 93. So that's crazy. We head to the next team, the Yankees. Oof, not great. Grayson Gonzalez. At least they have some okay overalls, but in general... 75 with 69 potential. That's not bad. Claudio Hernandez, at least that's a little bit interesting, him being at 75, but the D potential is kind of weird. We head to the next team, the Rays. 74 at 22, 72 potential. Yeah, in general, this is kind of a weird class. So I'm glad at least it wasn't just me that had to deal with the repercussions of it. The Blue Jays. Tom Fellows, 50 at 19, 86 potential. That's okay. We head to the White Sox. Tom Wheeler is pretty damn good. That's actually a really good pick. 70 at 18, 93 potential for the center fielder. Really good power hitting guy. And also probably could play decently in the outfield. So there is the White Sox. We head to the Guardians. Gomez is pretty good. 63 at 19, 88 potential as a left fielder. Carlos Zamora is okay too. 66 at 21, 85 potential. Lon Pittman is not great. 57 at 23 with 80 potential, but at least he has potential. The Tigers. Oh, they might have got some good late round steals. Let me see about that. Let's see. Did they get a good steal here? And a little bit of a low overall, but at least he's an A potential guy. And Sam Hamill. A low overall, but it has solid potential. The Royals made a pretty good first pick. Mustafa Ventura, 94 potential, 61 and 19. So some good center fielders in this year's draft as well, it seemed like. Not Fernando Valenzuela. I think that's an actual pitcher if I remember right. But Freddie Valenzuela, 69 at 21, 95 potential. Good stuff for the Twins there. And then Dan Potter's also decent. Diego Bonilla is okay. He's 50 at 18, 82 potential. And Jerome Spencer, another shortstop, also pretty much in the same boat. Houston. Eric Simpson is okay, but a little bit low for a 22-year-old, but not bad. But that's it. And in the Angels, Easton Solis, 68 at 20 with 94 potential. Not too bad. That was the second overall selection in this year's draft. And then Reggie Hartman, 73 at 18, 83 potential. That's also pretty good. But look at the late round picks. They didn't sign this guy. And then all these guys were deep potential. And then there's ours. So I think, honestly, we had an okay draft, all things considered. It seems like most teams drafted deep potential players. So at least it's not like we were the only ones suffering in this year's draft. But let's take a look, finally, to wrap up this episode, how good our top prospects are doing, or all of our prospects are doing. Let me go actually to the lineups and stuff like that. But let's see what we got. We're not going to take a look at the MLB batting guys because they're not important. But double A wise, Vincencio batting now a 175. He's kind of having a mid-season. Yeah, he's actually not having a good season. A 499 OPS is actually pretty bad. So Vincencio, unfortunately, seems to be a little bit inconsistent with his play. Hopefully he improves at some point. Maybe because he's a DH. Maybe we should have somebody else as a DH. Russell Yang at 207. It's okay compared to what we just saw with CO. And his WAR is not good, though. A lot of these guys struggling. It seems like Yamazaki, though, a 265. He's been good. And obviously he's got the A potential now, too. So Peter Yamazaki might be one of the better players on our double A roster for sure. And he's got a positive WAR. So shout out to Yamazaki. That's good. And William Chung's actually having a good season too. At 252, he's got no home runs up to this point, but 15 RBIs. He's been hot as of late. That's good to see too, because obviously he missed a lot of time due to injury. His OPS is low, probably because he doesn't have a lot of home runs, but he's been decent this season, I'd say. Charles Nomo at 237, a little bit low average-wise, but he does have the 11 home runs and 33 RBIs, so not too bad. Kind of a mixed bag with him. Raymond Park at 233, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs. How good is the OPS? A 652. WAR is not too badly negative, so Raymond Park's been okay, which is nice. Yokoyama at 241. That's okay as well. Yeah, it seems like some of these guys are doing not terribly. Yeah, he's got a positive WAR, so Yokoyama doing okay. Mark Taguchi at 239. 5 home runs, 34 RBIs. So it seems like the top of the order, like the first two guys, not so good, but everybody else has been okay-ish. Yeah, not too badly negative for Taguchi. And then Walter Choi at 205 is pretty low average-wise. But the home runs, RBIs is okay. And his WAR is an even 0, so at least it's not negative. Then we head to the bench. Robert Yabo batting a 306 off the bench. Interesting. Wasn't expecting that. Probably not a lot of at-bats, right? 124 at-bats doing a 306 is pretty good. Yeah, maybe he should get into the lineup, and then we should maybe move... Wait, what other position does he play? Second base. I don't want to move Yokoyama out, though. That's the only thing. I could take CO out in a sense and make Yabo to DH. If you guys think there should be any changes to AA. Let's take a look at AAA now. Tom Lee batting at 225. He's not been fitting in too well AAA wise compared to AA, but he's been okay-ish. Yeah, his WAR's not great. Brian Chu at 229. Yeah, it seems like a couple of AAA guys are struggling here. But here's what it is. Hey, actually, he's a positive WAR, so shout out to Brian Chu. David Sasaki at 233. He's got a lot of RBIs, so at least he seems to clean up and hitting-wise. 682 OBS. A 1.1 WAR, not bad from Sasaki. Good stuff. Kevin Sato at 267. Only the 1 home run, but 23 RBIs. A 715 OPS is pretty damn good. Yeah, not bad from Sato. We head down to nobody else, I guess, and that... Yep, nobody else. Which means we need to just look at our pitchers. So let's look at our pitchers now. And let me go down to AA to start. So, Kazuhito Hayashi. A 6.18 ERA. A 1.73 whip. And a 1-10 record. How's the game started and stuff? 20 games started. 7 quality starts. It's alright. Hey, he has a positive WAR too, so he's been okay. Maybe it's just the quality of the team in front of him. But he's been not the best. Eric Yamamoto. Considering this team is not that great in AA, it's not terrible maybe as a reliever. Yeah, it's not terrible. He has a 2.5 WAR, which is good. So there's Yamamoto. Walter Cho has been really good. Walter Cho has been one of the best relievers down there. ERA-wise, 2.51, 1.3 whip. Has a 2-3 record as well, which is pretty good. And his WAR is also positive. Eric Yamashita, probably one of the worser relievers. I don't want to say worser because I know it's not a word, but 4.65 ERA, 1.59 whip. He's held 4 times at least, blown only 1 save. It's not too bad. He's got a positive WAR, but kind of a mixed bag. And then that's it for the pitchers in AA. AAA wise, Walter Young is actually playing much better in AAA, I think, than AA. He's up to a 75 overall now, too, so he might crack the majors next season, which is exciting. 21 games started, 8 quality starts. So still a little bit low on the quality starts, but the ERA and the whip are good. The WAR is positive. So Walter Young is starting to come together, which is good. Stan Nguyen, also playing pretty good. 21 games started, has a solid ERA and whip. Has 10 quality starts, which is great. And a 2.1 WAR. Nice. David Naw has also been playing solid, but he does obviously have a losing record like everybody else. 3.42 ERA, 1.29 whip. 21 games started, 12 quality starts, which is the best out of the bunch. So shout out to David Naw for having a good first season so far in AAA. And then Robert Matsui, 4-6 with a 3.06 and a 1.24. Matsui's maybe been the best of the bunch. 20 games started, 11 quality starts, so pretty much similar to like David Naw, but a much better WAR. So these guys have all been doing actually pretty good. And then Leonard Sato as a reliever has been good. You guys were saying maybe we could call him up halfway through the season. Would we prefer to have him on a team that's actually winning games and stuff like that, or would we rather him in the majors? He's been pretty solid. He's got a 1-2 record, a below 3 ERA, a 1.32 whip, and a 1.9 WAR. His fielding percentage ain't too good though. That's interesting. But he is up to a 74, which is great. And then Hiroyuki Yamada has also been okay with ERA and whip wise. So in general, the AAA pitchers have been okay. His overall dropped apparently though, which is kind of scary because we do need to maybe up his potential if he's good this offseason. We'll see. And his WAR is positive. Okay, not bad. Impressed with the AAA pitchers, I'd say. And in MLB-wise, Parker Iwamura has not won his first game yet in the MLB, but he has a 5.32 ERA and a 1.5 whip. So he has been good, I'd say, even though the team in front of him obviously hasn't been. 22 games started and 5 quality starts. That's kind of surprising. But then again, it's probably the team. Like, he maybe has an okay FIP, right? Yeah. His FIP is much better than everybody else on the team. He has a 4.23 FIP. And if you compare that to the other guys like Chi Young Liu, he has a FIP of actually 4.86. That's not bad. But when you go to like these low 5 overall kind of guys, their FIP ratings are absolutely tragic at a 16.57. So you can see who the major league players are and who the guys that obviously are just filler based on that. 9.89. That's actually kind of surprising for a 2 overall. But in general, Parker Iwamura, I would say, has actually been doing good. It's just a team that he has around him that hasn't been that super good. So, and then lastly, Tom Koo. How has Tom Koo done? 5.11 ERA, 1.39 WHIP. Once again, not the best, obviously, in terms of ERA and stuff like that, but in terms of everything else, I wish I could take a look at a way to find it. Actually, 0.5 WAR is pretty good. His FIP is a 4.17. Yeah, I'd say he's still been good as well. Like, I know their numbers don't look the best with the ERA and stuff like that, but obviously, if this team was better, I'd say those numbers would be, like, in the 3, 4, maybe even less than 3 range. Like, I think Iwamura definitely will benefit once this team gets better, but there's that. And that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll simulate the rest of Year 5. We'll go through another off-season. And we'll pray that next year's draft class is a lot better, because this year's draft class is kind of a step backwards in terms of actually getting this team good. And I don't know how long it's going to take still for us to win our first game, but hopefully it's coming soon with Iwamura getting better, with Young getting better, all that type of thing. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.